morning, everybody. It is Monday, November 6th, 2017, 6:49 a.m. Eastern Time for me. All right, we have our official Tropical Depression 19. More than likely will become Tropical Storm Rina within the next 24 hours, probably sooner than that. But the good news is, more than likely, Rina's path is going to be north and then shooting to the east, possibly becoming an issue for Ireland, North Ireland, and the rest of the UK. As of right now, it's projected, even the wide part of this cone here is projected to go north of that, which would be very good for them. And as I said, it is good news for us. You can see it beginning to show that circular counterclockwise formation that we've been looking for all season when we were tracking our hurricanes. This would be a late season storm to form, as we are in the first week of November with 3 weeks remaining in the season, basically till November 30th. Those are just guidelines. If you guys remember, I made a video explaining why those are guidelines. We've had storms well before that June 1st date, and we've had storms well after November 30th. So we just got to keep an eye on the ocean, guys. That's what determines all these storms: our atmospheric conditions, our warm water, our shear winds going on, and our pressures. Different pressures in the Atlantic Ocean, different pressures coming down from the jet stream, and that's what steers and determines our weather. Okay, with that said, like I said, Rina is a non-issue more than likely for the U.S. It's supposed to go north and then shoot northeast with the jet stream that we've been talking about all year. But let's just look at our stats here. We have 35-mile-an-hour winds, 1,013 as our pressure. Once that drops below 1,000, probably before 1,000, you can say that this will be a tropical storm. It is forming pretty quickly. That's what's interesting. There's not a lot of shear winds moving across this storm. The fact that it wants to go directly north shows that that's its natural motion. Unless there's something else forcing these storms down, guys, like we dealt with a lot of our hurricanes in the warm water belt here. The reason they stay west and they move east to west is because there's pressures in the Atlantic that keep them pinned down, not allowing them to turn north. Once those pressures release and we don't have a jet stream influence, those storms want to shoot north. That's based on the Earth's spin and the fact that the storms spin counterclockwise. That's just the way they go. They want to spin and move upwards. So when this thing moves straight up, you can be sure that there's no outside influences. And then when it goes to from west to east, that is our jet stream moving over the northern part of the US and Canada, and then over the North Atlantic, and that will bring that thing right up towards the UK. So hopefully they don't get any issues from this, but nonetheless, guys, this is our 19th tropical depression. We are running out of letters, and I'm going to show you something else that may lead to you believing that we're running out of letters also. Now check this out. So we've been looking at this bottom area here for Rina. Turns out Rina is going to be forming out in the middle of the Atlantic, it looks like. So now we are on to S, I believe, right? Actually, we need to look at what names we have for our next name. What is that? Okay, so we're going to be dealing with Rina and Sean. So Sean and Tammy would be our next two storms if we get them. Now, according to the CMC, we may see these two storms, guys. So this low pressure system we've been watching down in the South Caribbean, we were talking about how far out it was. We were looking at it around the 2nd or 3rd, and we didn't see it until about the 17th. So we said a lot can happen in that time, including storms in between, and stuff like that. So that's actually what we're getting right now. We're getting a storm that formed out in the middle of the Atlantic that took this place of this one that we thought would be Rina. But now check this out. So we're going back to current time. Let's go to the 6th, where we are right now. You can see Tropical Depression Rina is right here. And you can see, according to this chart, it's going to go north and then boom, brought right up by the jet stream. Here is another system that's moving its way across the U.S. And it's about midway. This is the one we were talking about that looked like it came right from Texas. It turned into a low pressure system over North Texas. By the way, Texas is going through a rough time right now. Another mass shooting on U.S. soil, guys. It's just, oh man, I'm not even going to get into it, but it's just very bad. Not a good situation. It looks to be that they're focusing on mental health with this one, so we'll just have to see where that goes. But yeah, thinking about Texas and all those people there in that small little town. And all right, on we go, guys. All right, so this is Rina moving north and then be shooting towards the east. We have a system that moves off the US but then begins to gain strength as it heads towards Ireland and the UK. And then look at this strip of storms we get here. There we go. It actually looks to go up. Here's the spot I'm talking about. Let me back that up a little bit to see where this comes from. All right, so both of these storms are forming out in the Atlantic Ocean. We have one popping up right above Dominican Republic to the east of the Bahamas. And just as that's happening, we have another recognized low system brewing right where we've been looking. This is what we thought was going to be Rina, but because this storm formed in the middle of the Atlantic, that takes its spot. Whichever one of these forms first would be Sean, and then the next one would be Tammy. So we could possibly, guys, be looking at Sean and Tammy at the exact same time in the Atlantic Ocean in mid-November. Look at how dense this storm gets here. This is more dense than they showed Rina getting out here in the middle of the Atlantic. 987 pressure, then we have it followed by a 992 pressure. We move forward, and you can see this storm wants to be pulled up by the jet stream quickly, but this one looks to be dancing a little bit down here in the Caribbean. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen with this thing. I'm going to back it up and move it forward, get an idea of the movements. Now, is this going to be that same situation we saw where the storm moves up to just the west and parallel with Jamaica, and then it comes back down and hooks this way? Or is this going to be a storm that comes up past Jamaica and over Cuba and then become an East Coast issue? Now, remember, we were talking about one of these storms possibly becoming a nor'easter, and that's what I think this is here, right over Dominican Republic. So any little shift in this pattern here, and this thing could possibly be brought up towards the northeast, and if it mixes with a system, we could be dealing with a nor'easter right away. And we got some colder temperatures that are going to be in the northeast over the next couple days. We have a dip in the jet stream bringing cold air from Canada. So guys, it's just a waiting game right now, but one thing for sure is we have Rina as a named tropical depression as our 19th, and then in the next week and a half we have some other things to look out for as far as Atlantic and tropical storms still, guys. We are in November and we're still dealing with tropical storms. It's unreal. Before I let you go, we have some winter weather advisories for Idaho and Montana. We got some snow accumulating in both of these states right now, to the point where they are putting out warnings and watches. So for anyone that wants to check this out, one of the better sites I go to is weatherunderground.com. This is attached to the Weather Channel and the Hurricane Center, and you can see here you get your winter weather advisories. They update these constantly. Right now it's 5 p.m. to 11 a.m. all throughout today, and here are those areas to look out for. So we have a lot of snow cover coming in those northern states, especially closer to Canada with this cold weather we're having. We're having a dip in the jet stream that is bringing down cooler weather for the northeast, and that's where we're at right now, guys. So we're going to keep an eye on the tropical areas. We're going to keep an eye on the Atlantic and the different pressures, because any little shift with these storms, and these could be riding right up the East Coast and becoming an issue. And depending on the temperatures up here, it's going to be the difference between a rain and wind maker or a snow and wind maker. Regardless, we're going to see wind. Whenever you see these lines tight together in circles, you get strong winds. All right, guys, let's talk later on this afternoon. I hope everyone has a great Monday. We'll get through this week, and we'll be on to the next one. All right, talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.